Did you know there's over 500 calories in this bar of dark chocolate, 200 calories in this measly serving of peanut butter, whilst there's only 100 calories in all of this broccoli? I'm going to explain why all of this is so important for you to understand in this video. So you've come to the conclusion that you want to eat more plant foods, maybe you're fully plant-based already, or you're just making a conscious effort to begin the transition, and you largely feel pretty good despite everyone you know telling you that you're going to feel weak, and what about the protein? Oh, it's just another fad, etc., etc. But there's one problem. You're not losing any weight. Maybe you were at first, maybe you lost 10 pounds initially, but you've totally stagnated. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why, even though you might be eating more healthily than ever before, you're still not losing any weight on a plant-based diet. Here's the big enchilada. You either don't understand or don't respect the principle of calorie density. What is it? Calorie density refers to the amount of calories in a food relative to its weight or volume. You will usually see this written as calories per pound or calories per 100 grams. When you understand just how much foods differ in calorie density, weight loss gets infinitely easier. I'm going to show you exactly how right now. Here's our first example. Let's take two perfectly healthy, nutrient-rich whole foods. On my left here, I've got 250 grams of strawberries. On my right, I've got 30 grams of cashew nuts. Now, here's your first test. If I were to tell you that one of these plates actually contains double the amount of calories as the other plate, which one would you think it was? To be honest, you can probably already tell where I'm going with this, but lots of people would assume the strawberries. So there's way more strawberries on the plate there. Look at the volume difference. It has to be those. They have to have more calories. Nope. In fact, our 250 grams of strawberries here contains just 80 calories versus our measly 30-gram serving of cashew nuts, which contains over 160 calories. That's more than double. And which of these do you think is going to fill you up more? So cashew nuts are an example of a high calorie density food with lots of calories concentrated in a small volume of food. Strawberries, of course, are an example of a low calorie density food, very few calories for quite a large quantity. To further illustrate the point here, let's have a look now at what 100 calories worth of various plant foods looks like. So as George comes in with the camera here, at the back we've got 80 grams of cooked brown rice. We've got 25 grams of rolled oats, 110 grams here of white potato, 70 grams of canned chickpeas. We've got 30 grams of dried red lentils. Of course, these will expand when you cook them some. At the back now, berries have an amazing calorie density. This is 200 grams of raspberries for 100 calories, not bad at all. This, if you can just about make it out, is 1 tablespoon or 16 grams of no added oil peanut butter. So pretty measly amount for 100 calories. And then here we have 18 grams of dark chocolate. And then over here, we've got 1 medium to large Granny Smith apple. 300 grams is our broccoli from earlier, 300 grams of broccoli. And look at this volume. Of course, they shrink down when you cook them, but 300 grams worth of mushrooms, all for 100 calories. And if you're curious as to why there's such a big difference here, these foods, in fact all foods, contain a different amount of calories based on their water content, their macronutrient breakdown, and the amount of fiber they contain. And now you have a visual representation for just how much foods differ in terms of their calorie density. Can you see the problem with statements like, just eat plants, go plant-based and you'll lose weight. Oh, just eat more whole foods, just eat more healthily and you'll lose weight. Sadly, it's not always that straightforward. You might be eating very healthily right now, but if you're eating too many calories relative to your body's needs, you're not going to lose weight. Are you spending lots of your daily calories on our high calorie density foods like cashews, dark chocolate, nut butter? Remember, it's easy to spend a big percentage of your daily calorie requirements on these foods because they have such a poor calorie to volume ratio. It's really easy just grazing on these things pretty innocently to consume 50, 100, 150 calories just like that. You see, you don't get the same risk of overconsumption with our low calorie density foods like fruit and veg. So think of calorie density like a scale. You've got lower calorie density foods at one end, higher calorie density foods at the other. So if you're not losing weight right now, simply by moving down this spectrum, right, reducing the consumption of the foods at this end of the spectrum, not cutting them out completely, but reducing slightly, eating more of the food towards this end of the spectrum, you can reduce your calorie consumption, get much closer to a calorie deficit, and therefore start losing some weight again. Here's the real secret though, and I think this is the recipe for sustainable weight loss. You want a mix of all plant-based food groups so you're getting all the nutrients you need, but you want the amount of high calorie density foods you eat to be very controlled and the amount of low calorie density foods that you eat to be very generous. And that way you can create these high volume meals with all of the nutritional goodness you need without the risk of over consuming calories. And that's exactly how I design meal plans for my Slim and Sustain clients. High volume, nutrient-rich meals that put them into a moderate calorie deficit every single day, whilst feeling so full and satisfied that it actually feels like they're cheating weight loss. If you add too many high calorie density foods to your meals, you won't be able to do that because you're getting all of these calories without all the volume. You don't really get that much fullness and satisfaction. Adversely though, if you add too many low calorie density foods to your meals, you aren't actually consuming enough calories. You've got all the volume, all the bulk, not that many calories. You're actually gonna be too hungry, you're gonna crash and burn. That's where our foods in the middle come in handy. So bottom line is, using everything here, you need to find the appropriate balance for your nutrition needs and what brings you results on the scale. If you want me to personally design the perfect meal plan for you, click the link down below so you can learn more about my coaching. For now though, here are your key takeaways. Number one, understand that some foods offer a better calorie to volume ratio and will fill you up for fewer calories. Number two, you don't need to avoid them completely, but just understand that you are more likely to be in a calorie surplus eating lots of high calorie density foods. And number three, if your weight isn't budging right now, move down the spectrum of calorie density, but not too aggressively, and you'll be much more likely to put yourself in that calorie deficit and start losing weight. Hope this helped you out. See you soon.